Hello. Welcome to our Narrow Road podcast, where I, Amanda Williams, your host, and Avery Williams, your co-host, are living out a countercultural life, and we're inviting you to join us. We're so glad you're here. Hey, everybody. We are back together, and I am so glad to be with you. I am just so excited to share with you today is going to be our summer recommendations podcast. I've got a few more ideas for you than I normally have. Since Miss Avery cannot join us tonight, I'm very sad to not have her recommendations. She actually was home for about 2 nights and 2 days during the holiday weekend, and we had every good intention of recording a podcast, but the poor girl, she had to get to bed by 7 o'clock at night. She would fall asleep if we were reading or watching a movie as a family. She was exhausted, so we did not want to push her any further. We wanted to let her brain rest while she was here. And so it is just you and I tonight. But I'm really, really excited to be here. So thank you for joining me. Okay, so we are combining June and July. Like I said, summer podcast recommendations. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to recommend to you is a company called David Austin Roses. And these roses, you guys, are beautiful. They have live climbing roses. They have rose bushes, many different sizes. They are shipped straight from Shropshire, England, and they grow them in all these different varieties. So you can literally get on their website and say if you want roses that are a certain color, if you want to grow roses that are a certain size, if you want to grow roses that have fragrance or no fragrance. And they have all of these varieties, and you can be very picky. I feel very affordable. But the coolest thing about David Austin Roses, and I have a personal testimony, is they are hand budded. This is a very time-consuming, tedious task. So basically what they're doing is they're slicing one of the rootstocks, and then they're going to insert a bud from a particular variety type. So what this does is it just keeps the plants stronger. They can preserve the varieties that the specific traits, that you like about that variety, and they just become more disease resistant. But what's so cool about this company is they're very, very picky. And so I had ordered 2 climbing roses, and one of the climbing roses did not meet their expectations. So they went ahead and sent me 1 climbing rose, and then they sent me 2 potted rose bushes. And I ordered the Claire and the Olivia, I believe. And so those are very French country, light pinks, light ivory. And one of them came in the very first bloom that it pushed out one little flower. It was still sitting in my garage until I could prep the ground where I was going to plant it. Every time you walked by, it smelled like a woman's lovely perfume. I don't know. It was so fragrant, so strong. I was highly impressed. So I would recommend David Austin Roses if you're looking for some fun summer garden. I'm so sorry. My dog is right here by the microphone doing twirls in the bed trying to get the blankets just right. If you hear that, I apologize. But anyway, so summery flowers, if you're looking to plant or you want to prepare for next spring, write this down in your commonplace, David Austin Roses. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was the Seed Savers Exchange. Mia, lay down. My word, you guys, I'm so sorry. So it's Seed Savers Exchange. This is a seed company that sells heirloom seeds, and it's from Decorah, Iowa. You may have heard about them. Sometimes you'll see their seed packets in like a health food market or something, but mostly you just order directly from the company. What I love about them is they are dedicated to preserving heirloom seeds. So if you're not really familiar with the heirloom and the genetically modified and all of that, in the last century or so, the world has lost 75% of its edible plant varieties. So that puts a lot of strain on our food system. So that's a system that depends heavily on few crops, and that makes us extremely fragile. And so when seed diversity is strong, our food system is strong. But as the diversity increases, the likelihood of having crop varieties that can adapt to different climate conditions and things, is strained. So in the U.S. in particular, genetically engineered plant varieties have had a devastating impact on biodiversity. According to the USDA's Economic Research Service, the use of genetically engineered crops by domestic farmers has increased every single year since it was introduced in 1996. And I think it was in 2024 So just 2 years ago, it was like 186 million acres of genetically engineered crops were planted. So that was over 50, it was like 57% of all of our cropland. Scary. And so these patented seeds, they can't be saved and planted again in the years to follow. Isn't that scary? You're planting stuff in the garden that when it goes to reproduce itself and it puts forth a seed, you can't replant that seed and have it be disease-free and trust the traits and not have it be detrimental. And so these heirloom seeds are imperative. And so I would just highly recommend that you just spend a little bit extra, get yourself good seeds, and then save some of your own seeds. There's, YouTube videos. If you don't know how to do it, you can find anything online these days. Do the research, save your seeds, and basically, help our food system. So I have had really, really good germination from the seed savers that I've used. I had some that were 4 years old, and they usually say, after 4 years, then your germination rates go down. And I did have about a 50% germination rate for my spinach and lettuce, but I wanted to use those seeds. I wanted to honor them and use them. And, a lot of I didn't get to have a garden for the last 3 years because we were building and our yard was torn up. And so this year is just kind of like get everything set up and just do what I can and accept whatever the Lord has for us. So the new seeds that I bought for this year, 100% germination, amazing. So I would highly recommend them as you're thinking about gardens. Okay, another thing, I have had so many of you reach out from my Instagram stories on my Greenstock garden planter. Okay, so it's my vertical garden planter. It spins. It also has a wheelbase, and you basically water it from the top, and it drips down into each little pocket that you've planted something in. So you follow the line at the top, you water it to a certain line, and you walk away, and it becomes like a drip system. And it is amazing. It takes up no room at all. I don't even think it's 18 inches wide. I could be lying. We have to look it up. But go to greenstock.com. And so many of you have been reaching out that Greenstock is offering our listeners, just our listeners, a $10 off coupon. I'm like, that is so cool. They're such a cool company. So use the code OurNarrowRoad10 and get $10 off of your first garden planter. You can get a 3-tier, a 5-tier, a 7-tier, and I think they might even go up to a 9-tier. And so you can do pretty much whatever you like, but each little tier has 6 pockets, and you plant your seeds in the pockets and you grow vertically. And it is just amazing. The watering, that's the coolest part. Okay, so don't forget to use Our Narrow Road 10 at greenstock.com for $10 off of your planter. Another thing that I love, love, love that's kind of gardeny, but more summery, and that is the farmer's market. Do you all have a farmer's market in your area that you love? If you do, or if you don't have one right in your area, find one that you love and take advantage of those that are around you. I know in our state, there's one about almost 2 hours south of us, and it's the largest one in our state. And we obviously are not going to do that. But every Saturday morning, I will drive 12 miles to our nearest one, and it is amazing. And it is so cool because we live kind of in a rural area, middle of nowhere, But what is so neat is how the Lord has brought farmers who are interested in, grass-fed, A2 milk, just kind living circumstances for the animals. And so we literally can go to the farmer's market on Saturday and we can buy the sausage for Saturday night pizza night. We can buy grass-fed cheese for Saturday night pizza night and the rest of the week. We can get all of our produce for the week right there at the farmer's market. We can get our raw milk there. We can stock up on other meats that we might need. And so if you're in my area and you're in Iowa, or if you're not, please look these people up on Instagram or Facebook. They ship. These farmers are amazing. You always want to buy local if you can, so you can see the practices of how animals are treated, what is the conditions clean, what are the farmers like. I can attest to all the people that I'm going to tell you about right now. Okay, so North 40 Gardens, they are right here in Garner, organically grown. They do produce and flowers. Twisted River Farms, they are local and they have amazing organic produce. They even have microgreens of all kinds. They are just a neat, neat company. One of our favorites is the Thomas Farmstead. This is where we get our organic raw milk. We get our lamb, our chickens and our pork from him. And we order 2 hogs a year. We order 1 cow. We order about 40 chickens and 1 lamb. And that is for our family of 8. And like I said, with him, it's the milk, the chicken, the pork. So that's what we love to get from him. Then our second favorite, or our, it's still our favorite. They sell different things. Red Shed Gardens. They sell all organic vegetables and produce. And she also does baking. She's amazing. And she even provides gluten-free baking. I mean, their whole family, their kids are always there working. It's just so lovely to have them as friends. They grow anything from tomatoes to turnips to strawberries, herbs. Oh, the herbs that they grow are amazing. Until I started growing my own again this year, I was buying so much from them every week and even feeding the bunnies with their scraps and things. And they've got beets and you name it. I've been to their farm several times and it's immaculate. They are just amazing. Another place I really like is the Red Rooster Ranch. They are very, very careful with how they treat their animals, ingredients that go into feeding their animals. They, I believe, homeschool. And the young daughters are usually there. And the one, she helps pick wildflowers and she wraps them. And they have great prices. And I love that her dad lets her run the cash register. And she uses that for her math practice. And it's amazing. They're great. So look them up. Faith and Flour. This is a gal that goes to our church and she is a baker. She makes sourdough, everything you can think of. And sadly, I cannot eat it because it's not gluten-free. But for those of you that can handle regular sourdough, definitely look her up, Faith and Flour. Another place we love, and these places aren't as much, organic and that kind of thing, but it's more nostalgia for us on Saturdays, Lake Lemonade. My favorite thing to order there is I think I might have told you guys about this last month, but they take like a little fruit baller and they scoop like 4 balls of watermelon in the cup and then they pour over the watermelon with their homemade lemonade. And I don't even like lemonade, but the watermelon balls make it so good. And it's just so unique and just a really fun treat for Saturday morning. We also love a place called Livonia's Coffee. And they have a little trolley that drives around town. They have a brick and mortar shop. And my kids just absolutely love it there. And I don't drink coffee, but I love getting gift cards for people there. And the family is really, really amazing. Another place I love, Paws at the Lake. These gals bake for animals. They have the coolest animal shop and they have a veterinary clinic in the animal shop. And so you can pop in, get grain-free treats. They have the best healthy stuff for your pets. So every once in a while, they'll have a booth at the farmer's market as well. And again, that's called Paws at the Lake, but you could look them up online. We love Charlotte's Crochet Corner. Charlotte is one of Jordan's really good friends, his classmate, and she is amazing at her crochet. And we have bought several things for her. And right now, one of the new things she's added is baby cuddlers. And they're beautiful little animals. They don't have the stuffing in the belly. And so they're safe for babies to cuddle up with during those newborn months. And so we would highly recommend Charlotte's Crochet Corner. We also love Mary Had a Little Goat. They make soap with their goat milk, and they're beautiful soaps. We love the Brown Family Farm. They do all the things I can't eat, but these are where we would go to buy treats for people we love or clients. They make the biggest, fluffiest cinnamon rolls, and it just brings back memories from my childhood. They've got pies, they've got breads, you name it, they've got it. We love the Brown family. Another place, and the last place I'll tell you about our farmer's market, it's called Lost Lakes Farms. They're actually in Jewel, Iowa, and I did not know they're there, but they make grass-fed cheeses. My word, the cheese is amazing. I bought some type of oak something or other this last Saturday, and I just cannot wait to dive into it. Okay, so moving on. Another thing I love to get at the farmer's market is flowers. And I kind of talked about it a little bit when I was telling you about the ranch that has the little girl, the Red Rooster Ranch. But sometimes the bouquets of flowers can be a little spendy, like upwards of $60 for the larger ones. And sometimes I just don't have that in my budget. And so what I did this year is my friend at Red Shed Gardens, she had set out a bouquet of chives on her table and it had gotten warm and they had bloomed. And there was these big purple balls on top of these tall, skinny green stems. And it was so beautiful. My favorite color is green and my second favorite color is purple. So I bought like 8 of her little chive bouquets and I plopped them in a vase at home and let them bloom. It was so beautiful. And it was probably less than $10 for that. So that's a really good idea if you kind of want to spend a little bit less but still enjoy the summer flowers. Okay, so this time of year, appliances are going to be going on sale, mattresses, things like that. I had it on my calendar to give me a little reminder. And so I thought it'd be a good time to tell you about some things I wanted to tell you about, and that is our Medea refrigerators. So with a family of 8, we could not get by with just one refrigerator. We actually have 2 Medea refrigerators that are placed side by side. They open toward each other like French doors would. And so it looks like one of those big, expensive double refrigerator situations, but each refrigerator was $839. And you guys, here's the cool thing. Each refrigerator is divided into 2 equal parts. Okay, so not like a normal refrigerator with the skinny freezer and the large refrigeration area. It's just divided right in the center. And you can choose in each pod or each fourth of of our double fridge, whether you want it to be a freezer or a refrigerator. There's a little button on the inside. So even come Thanksgiving, let's say I have 2 freezers going right now and I've used up a lot of my meat from the year. And come Thanksgiving, I'm going to need extra refrigerator space for all the dishes that other people are bringing. I can turn it into a refrigerator and use it that way for that Thanksgiving weekend, and then turn it back into a freezer if I need to the next week. They are so cool. So, so cool. We have loved them. The only thing that I would say is a downfall, which really hasn't even bothered us, is they only put light in the top of the Medea fridge, the top half. The bottom half does not have a place for a light bulb. So it's darker in there, but you can see fine. That's the only thing that I see that they've cut out that you would maybe want. But yeah, they're amazing. So Medea refrigerators, IDEA, and you'll have to check and see. They should be on sale this time of year, but we scored ours for $839. And those double refrigerators, those could be upwards of $10,000. And we're just not those kind of people. So this was one of our best purchases. Another thing that's on sale right now, I checked, and it is our top recommendation is a Lebeda bed, Lebeda. We love Lebeda. When we first got engaged, we knew that we were going to, we both had twin beds at our houses. And so we were like, we're going to need a queen bed. And so we went ahead and stupidly charged this bed for 6 months with 0 interest. And it was ridiculous. It was like a $1,200 bed. Okay, this was in 1999. Our families literally thought we had lost our minds, and maybe we had. But my husband was so diligent. He had that thing paid before the 6 months was up. We never paid a dime of interest, and we never charged anything after that. But we had that bed until our 25th wedding anniversary. And I know that sounds really gross, but it was an amazing bed. I will say I did follow the instructions on how to care for it. Every single month, I had an alarm on my calendar, and you would flip it. You would flip the bottom to the top. Then the next time you would flip the head to the foot area. So you'd spin it. Then the next month you'd flip it again, and then you'd rotate the head to the foot area. So I was constantly, monthly changing that up, and it was a double pillowcase on both sides, pillow top, I should say. And so every time you flipped it, you had a pillow top, and it wore really, really well. And then I did use on the regular the Norwex mattress spray just to kill any of the dead skin or to eat up the dead skin cells or kill any of the whatever we put into our beds. But it was an amazing bed. And so on our 25th wedding anniversary, we upgraded to a king, and it's so good, so good. I told Eric, I said, this will be the last bed we ever buy. We'll be dead before we need another bed. So anyway, that or in a nursing home. Anyway, so we would recommend that as well. Okay, another thing I recommend is an ice maker that sits on your counter. Now, I wouldn't like this if I just had my old small kitchen because I didn't have enough counter space and I don't want to look at it. But because we have our pantry now and I have a spot for these types of appliances, I love it. So it's Vivo Home, Vivo Home. It's an electric, portable, compact countertop, automatic ice cube maker machine. It comes with a hand scoop, and it says a self-cleaning function. I need to look into that because I always clean it. I don't use any function. I need to check on that. What I love about these is that you pour in the water and then it makes the ice cubes, obviously, versus it being hooked up like right to your freezer. And what I love about it is we don't have to have an RO system. We have an RO system under our sink. We don't have to have that cord or wire or whatever run all the way through our kitchen, hooked up to our refrigerator, freezer, then if, that leaks, or if we want to get a new refrigerator like we just did when we got these, having it hooked up and you can't move it, it takes up freezer space. And so I love this because I can use RO water, pour it right in, and then I can even remineralize the water if I want with trace minerals, because RO, takes out the good and the bad. And then the ice cubes I know are healthy drinking water. And I clean it honestly with a cap full of thieves cleaner and some water. I just fill it up and I let it run it through, and it just pulls out any gunk, and then we refresh it with fresh water. So I would highly recommend getting yourself a portable ice maker. It makes a great amount. And the cool thing is you can just leave it running and the ice stays really, really cold on top. But if it does start to melt, it just drips right through back down to the water reservoir and makes more ice. So you're not ever wasting the water, and you always have fresh ice on hand. So let me know if you guys have other ice makers and what brands you use, but I really love ours. Okay, let's see. Do I have any other kitchen-y things? No, not really. Okay, so I'm going to move on to music. And this was a really cool reel my mom had sent me a couple months ago. And it was of a gentleman. They're a husband and wife are in a church. They're the only ones in this old, beautiful, traditional style church. And he's holding very still, and he's got a hymnal open. He's standing holding the hymnal, and he's singing to the hymn. And his wife is sitting next to him or standing next to him, and he's got kind of muted clothing on. And she's got bright clothing and a cute little bow in her hair, and she's raising her hands and bouncing all over the place, rocking out to this hymn. And it's funny because, then he's kind of looking at her like, oh, that's annoying. And she's looking at him like, lighten up. And then they say at the bottom where Baptist meets Pentecostal or something like that. And you find out that they are a husband-wife musician group, and they take beautiful traditional hymns that most of us probably have heard a time or two, or we either grew up with, or we heard grandma sing at her church, and they make them a little bit more upbeat and a little bit more modern. So the sound might be more interesting, but the words stay the same. And I thought, oh my word, this is amazing. Their voices are so good. I just can't get enough of them. And so then that led me on a rabbit trail in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, in homeschool, our first 6 weeks, we have this book called Then Sings My Soul. And it looks like a regular book, but when you open it up, it appears to be a hymnal. But on the side of each page that has the hymn is a whole written article about who wrote it, what was going on in their life, what was the time period, and what did the words mean. And I did grow up with some hymns in church, but it was mostly, the 90s when Christian music was taking off, and we were having, Striper and all of those. And so I knew some of the hymns, but I never really listened to the words or really cared much about them. And then as we started introducing them in our homeschool, I tell you, you could tear up reading these stories about these hymns. And so I thought, what a cool way to introduce them to our kids now using our Then Sings My Soul book. But then I have this band called, did I ever tell you what their name is? I'm so sorry. Love and the Outcome. That's the name of the band, Love and the Outcome. I believe you can find them on Instagram for sure. I think they have YouTube. I know that they did a podcast I listened to a little bit. I didn't care for it too much. It wasn't anything that I felt like I would listen to on a regular, but their singing is really what I love about them. So Love and the Outcome. So I think this year for school, I'm going to use their versions of the hymn songs, and then we're going to read about them in Then Sings My Soul. So I hope you love it. Okay, another person I have stumbled upon recently on Instagram. Her name is Claire Alsup. So Claire, and then the last name Alsup. S as in Sam, P as in purple. Claire Alsup. She has the most angelic voice I have ever heard. And she has gone back to the 90s, and she has this series going, songs that your mom played in the 90s in the minivan, but she sings them like an angel. It is so cool to take those worship songs or those rock songs. She slows them down and you literally feel like the angel of the Lord is here singing a song over your family. It's so pretty. And she actually, if you go to her Instagram page, she actually has put together a Spotify playlist that she shares that have other songs. And I believe it's called Morning Worship. But just hit her up on Instagram. You can look at all of her links. But we've been playing that a little bit on Spotify, and I have so enjoyed it. I'm hoping that she'll put some of her renditions together in a playlist so I can listen to everything that she's singing because it's so beautiful. So I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you try any of these out and you like them. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so another music thing, and I put this in here because we've been getting so much rain. It is like flooding in our area. And I love rain, but I mean, we got 3 inches last night. Like, it comes down so quickly and it floods the streets, and it's really, the area is struggling. People are struggling, and then it drinks it up so quickly because we were in a drought. And so because I love the rain, it made me think of when we have, a beautiful sprinkly or rainy day with the thunder roaring in the background, and it's the time where you can open your windows and listen to the rain. I always have, since the kids were little, have turned on big band music on Pandora. And one of my newest favorite stations is called Blossom Dearie, Blossom, Blossom, and then Dearie, and that's a girl's name. And I love her sound, and I love her songs, and I love the channel. And so just think, if you have a rainy day, pop on some big band music, make yourself a coffee or a tea, and just really enjoy it. It's a great station. Okay, now I want to tell you about a book series. And I don't know if any of you have any kiddos that have ADHD or dyslexia, or I don't know if you knew this or not, but kids that have experienced trauma, even adults, they can have symptoms of ADHD and dyslexia without actually having those things. They will have symptoms, is what they call them, or, there'll be things that look like they might have ADHD or dyslexia. One of the things that I have learned is that a lot of times when kids come out of situations, where they've had to move a lot, or maybe they were in foster care, or they went through some traumatic situation, a bad car accident, or they lost a loved one, their bodies can imitate some of these types of things like dyslexia and ADHD. And it's mostly because their body's trying to heal, and it prioritizes different parts of the body. And the brain is kind of left to struggle. The muscles, when reading, are kind of left to struggle. And so you see a lot of kids will need glasses at a certain age, and then they kind of grow out of needing glasses, that kind of thing. That's what I'm talking about. So Avery had found this book for one of our kids for Christmas, and it's by Elaine Henney, Elaine, and then Heney. And she said these books are really, really good for ADHD or dyslexia, or kids that are maybe showing signs of those things. And she said, I just would love to see if, this particular kiddo would like the book. Well, they didn't really like to read a lot, and it was kind of a struggle. When we'd have reading time, they just struggled to read the words, and we ended up getting them some glasses. And anyway, we started a reading challenge through Read Aloud Revival this month, and this particular child said, hey, I finished that book Avery got me for Christmas, and it shows in the back that there's several more. Could I have the rest of the series? And I thought, oh my word, this child is reading and asking me to buy them books. And so I did a little bit of research so that I could share them with you. I wouldn't say that the writing is like the most eloquent. They're not going to learn big vocabulary. It's not twaddle, but it's not classics. It's not like the depth of a classic, but the stories are cute. The stories are, mysteries. And so they're captivating for boys and girls. And this is what I've learned about them. So it's called the Blackthorn Stables Books by Elaine Henney. And they use a font called Open Dyslexic. And this font is designed to make reading easier because of how the letters are shaped. They can't easily run together or dance around on the page, or even switch orders as well, because it's an open dyslexic font. And that was so cool. I didn't know anything about that. They also have more spacing between the lines, and they contain more pages than the standard edition books because obviously they're spreading out the sentences. And then this fascinated me. The editions are printed on a cream paper instead of a white because it reduces the glare. So think about it when people have dyslexia or ADHD or there's other different things, but all of these little things are obstacles for them. And I thought, oh my word, thank you, Lord, for letting me learn about this, because why would you want to read if you had to work so hard? So I did. I hopped right on Amazon and I bought every single book in the series. And she had several other series too. And we have a whole box full of these books, and this kiddo is just blazing through them. So if you know of somebody, maybe you could forward this to them. Look them up yourself. But again, Blackthorn Stables Books by Elaine Honey. Okay, let's move into the kitchen. So did you guys know that seed oils are really, really bad for you, right? I'm thinking most people know this by now. Did you know there are studies linked to why people sunburn? And it has been traced back to the oils that they cook their food in. And food cooked in seed oils, people's pigment of their skin lightens and they burn more easily. This was fascinating to me. So I have tried so hard to get all the bad oils out of our house. I mean, we always cooked with, avocado, olive oil, coconut oil, that kind of thing. But butter, lard, that kind of thing. But, you buy like a thing of chips for a burger night or hot dog night, and it's full of vegetable oil or safflower oil or sunflower oil. And so I've been looking for brands that don't use seed oils. Well, one of the things that my daughter Jocelyn loves is when we do taco night. And I usually just do organic corn chips and we do like a taco nacho situation. She said, Mom, I really, really miss having the corn shells, the hard corn shells. And I think it was just like a nostalgic thing for her. And she's like, I just would love to hold one of those shells in my hand. And so anyway, I was searching and I found the brand Siete, which we buy. They do have corn shells that is now using avocado oil, no seed oils. So praise the Lord. And we got them and they actually tasted really, really good. So in your area, if you're kind of doing the no seed oil thing, or at least trying, look for the Siete brand. They are corn shells. They are shaped just the same. They look just the same and they hold up really well. So she was so excited. Okay. Another thing that I added to my kitchen, this could kind of be considered an appliance as well. But I always keep a griddle kind of out on the counter, so we can do multiple pancakes, multiple sausage links, multiple strips of bacon, whatever we're cooking. I just have found it's really helpful for a large family. And so I had only been able to find Teflon griddles. I could find cast iron, but they weren't the electric griddles. You had to put them across your burners. And we have a glass top stove, and I didn't know if that would harm the stove. And so I was stuck using this silly Teflon plug-in, electrical griddle. And it just bothered me. And the minute it would get a scratch, I would throw it away and get another $20 griddle because I did not want the Teflon leaching into our food. And I've been doing a lot of research lately, and I've been reading about ceramic. I found a Presto is the brand, Presto griddle. It's a ceramic griddle. It's automatically nonstick, so you don't have to spray it with a bunch of oil, and it cleans up so well. My kids can't even believe it. And I was thinking, why did I not buy this years ago? It's made life so easy. So check it out. I got mine on Amazon. It is much more expensive, but I don't think I'll be purchasing a replacement anytime soon. I mean, it is a heavy duty. It's legit. So Presto griddle, that has saved my life. Okay, so now let's talk about cleaners and some other fun things. So does anybody out there still use Comet? You know what I'm talking about? That little powdery cleaning supply that's full of toxins? Yeah, so we have Thieves Cleaner has a replacement for Comet. It's called the Kitchen and Bath Scrub. And so here's how I've been using this. We have marble countertops on all of our vanities. Highly do not recommend, okay? That is my do not recommend for the summer. They came with our vanities. They're beautiful. I thought, ooh, why is this so affordable? These are marble. Isn't that expensive? I felt so fancy. Oh my goodness. Marble is porous. I wish I would have done my research. It's so porous, so it stains. If my cat walks across it, unbeknownst to me, after walking through a plant, the dirt is embedded into the counter and they're white. And so I was constantly scrubbing, and it would come up. It would come off, but with a lot of elbow grease. Well, then I remembered we had this Thieves Kitchen and Bath Scrub that was like Comet. And so I sprinkled some on the counter and then I flicked some water on it, kind of made a paste, just rubbed it in with my cloth, let it sit for a minute, rinsed it off. You can't even tell that there was ever a stain. Oh my word. It is it is so encouraging to me because I had some stains that really, it just felt like our house was already old and ruined when I would look at it, and it has taken it all out. So if you guys have anything like that, or you're just looking to like get rid of some of the toxins, I would highly recommend the Thieves Cleaner kitchen and bath scrub. Oh, and some of you have reached out to me. Thank you so much. There's been people that have reached out asking for my link to buy some Young Living products. I didn't even think about that. I did tell you guys on here that I sell it, and some of you have been interested in some of the things I've recommended. I keep forgetting. Yes, I do have a link, but just message me or DM me and I can send it over to you. But that was so kind. Thank you for those of you that reached out. And if you have your own person, that's fine. Okay, the next thing I wanted to tell you was Whoopsie wipes. These are 100% pure cotton. You can get them on Amazon. My friend had told me about them during wrestling season when Avery first started. She said that she makes her own wipes for her kids, and she uses these Whoopsie wipes. She puts them right down in a container. She pours in some Thieves Cleaner, some hydrogen peroxide, and then some essential oils. I believe she uses lemon and rosemary, if I remember right. And I can send you the recipe for those if you're interested. But then she would use those for her child that was in wrestling. They would wipe off their face, their hands, their headgear. And she said, this is really going to help with, skin stuff. And so I had made some for Avery. She loved the smell. They worked amazing. She never had any trouble with her skin like other people have. And so we just had really great results. Well, I noticed we still have some of those from 3 years ago. And when I opened up the container, I thought, oh no, it's going to be full of mold, mildew. Not an ounce. So I had talked to my friend about it, and she was like, oh yeah, she's like, you have thieves involved, there will be no mold. And so I wanted to recommend them to you because I thought you could use those for wiping off counters. You could use them in your car this summer to clean sticky fingers. The ice cream truck comes by, you're at the beach playing in the sand, whatever. These things are amazing. So Whoopsie wipes on Amazon, and then DM me and I'll send you the recipe for this particular recipe that's really, really good. So, okay, now I have to tell you about 2 movies, okay? And I don't even know if I want to recommend one of them. It's nothing bad about it, but I had recommended it to my parents. And so the next day, I FaceTimed them to see if they liked it or not, because it was a little bit out of the norm. It's not my normal genre. And so I was just like, I hope they could see why I would share this movie. And they both looked at me like deer in headlights, like, what did we just watch? Why did you send that to us? I thought, oh, shoot. So anyway, it's called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And I don't know if it was if it's what I'm going through in life right now, or if it's because I have kiddos that are in that puberty stage, or if I have boys that are constantly looking for adventure. I don't know what drew me to it, but I really did enjoy it. And basically, it's heartwarming. It's clean for the most part. I think there was one mention of somebody said in passing, oh, they're rushing to a strip club, and you see nothing. Like there was never any. It was somebody's trying to get a bike. So that was the only thing that I thought was like weird. But it was such a good show. It's just about a guy who has something kind of devastating happen to him, and when he was in high school, and it changed the trajectory of his life. It changed who he was. And he spent a lot of his life living out his dreams through his imagination, which made him very socially awkward, kind of odd. But it allows the viewer to see some amazing, amazing scenery, and it almost like a superhero vibes when his imagination kicks in. So, of course, my kids loved it. Even Jocelyn, they loved it, laughed. They thought it was so cool. And then another thing happens to him and kind of propels him to make a choice. Like, am I going to continue living this way, being the responsible one, type A, doing all the right things, never having any fun? Or am I going to activate my imagination and actually start living my life because I'm still here? And I just thought it was such a great movie. There's, he's chasing after someone, trying to find someone, and this person's a photographer, and you go all over the world watching them take photos of things. And there's this one part where they're talking about a particular animal that's never been photographed, and they have the opportunity, and you see the photographer all set up in this remote area, and the animal comes out. And you just see the photographer with tears in his eyes looking at the animal, and he doesn't click the button on his camera because he doesn't want to miss the moment, and he doesn't, want to take away the privacy of the animal. I don't know. You guys, I know it sounds so weird, but it's really good. And I think if you just want like a heartwarming, but you're going to watch it with your kids and they need some adventure and excitement, and it's lighthearted and silly enough that the kids are going to love it. But if you pay close attention, there's some real depth there. I really liked it. So The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The next one that we watched, this one's just a feel good, and I think I was drawn to it because it takes place in Paris, France. But it's called The 100-Foot Journey, and it's basically all about food, and it's about two families who cook different types of foods, and they plop down their restaurants right across the street from one another. They compete. There's, my goodness, shenanigans up the wazoo. Then there's, restoration and healing and friendship, and it's just beautiful, beautiful movie. So The 100-Foot Journey. So if you just need a good feel-good night, it's super cute. Your kids would like it too, and nothing too concerning with that one. Okay, here is our last three, and then I'm going to let you go. The first one I want to tell you about is called NeuroMag, and it is a supplement. And I was talking with my homeopath, and every other word, it's like I had a certain word I wanted to use in the sentence. My brain completely lost the word. And of course, no other word would suffice. I had to have the one I was thinking of that I couldn't think of. And she laughed and she said, "You need some magnesium." And I was like, "I know, but there's so many different kinds of magnesium, and every kind of magnesium is for something different, and I just don't know." And she's like, "Well, you need the one for your brain that helps you sleep well. It relaxes you and helps you remember your words." And so I did some research, and I was looking through my notebook, and turns out several years ago, I had taken notes and I had written down this company called NeuroMag, and it had several different kinds of magnesium options, and each one I had written down what they were for. And so I went and snagged the NeuroMag one, and I've been taking one pill at every meal, and it has helped. It has helped so much. It just takes the brain fog away, and it just helps your mind be a little more sharp, and you can remember words when you're talking to people, and it does really help you sleep well. So I learned about this new thing, though, from my friend called Fullscript, and it's a place that you can order supplements, and you save like $10 to $15 a bottle. I was shocked. So if you guys decide to buy NeuroMag, you will save $15 buying it through Fullscript versus Amazon. And plus on Amazon, you never really know if you're getting what you're paying for. I mean, anybody could stick something in a bottle and ship it out. So do be careful. But if you want the code to Fullscript, it's an actual link that has to be sent. It's not just like, a little 4-digit code. So DM me and let me know. And there's tons of supplements on there. So even if you want to use it, if you already take some supplements and you're looking to save some money, it's literally like the Sam's Club of the Walmart. Like, there's no cost to you. You just are shopping through a wholesaler, and it's so much cheaper. So let me know if you're interested, and I will get you the link for that so you can save some money too. Okay, so then I got to thinking, I wanted to end tonight with just saying, we're in the thick of summer, and we can see the corn growing taller, and our gardens are producing, and you can start to feel the humidity rising. We know the colds are coming. We know the allergies are here. We know, okay, all the rain we've had, mold spores, all the things are going to start stirring. And so I want to be prepared. And so if you can't do what I'm going to recommend, at least make sure you have a neti pot on hand. I have a neti pot, love it, but it is a little bit trickier to use. How do I tilt my head just right so that the water will run through my passageways of my nose? And it's hard for kids too. So I was told by my parents a couple years ago, and my dad ended up purchasing one for us, but it's called a Navage, and it's Navage. You can get this on Amazon. I would recommend the Navage starter bundle because it comes with 30 salt pods for like congestion relief, and you just pop this little salt pod in. It puts the little saline medicine right down in the water. This is what's cool about it. You click a button and you just hold it up to your nose, and it will push the water through for you. You don't have to tilt a certain way. You don't have to gag yourself and try to figure out how to get it to go. And the cool part about it too, which is kind of gross, is after the water runs through your nose, it collects it in another reservoir, and you can literally see the allergens and the dirt and things that have come out of your nose in the water. And so that's why I'm promoting this. It is a little spendy, but you literally can see that it's working right then and there. What I also love about it is you can hit another button and reverse the water, and it'll go back the other direction. Clean water, of course. It doesn't take your dirty water. It's clean water. But you can clean it both directions. And so sometimes, you get one side of your nose is clogged, or you just have really bad sinus pressure. This is amazing. It helps you so much. So along with that, I also want to recommend another supplement, and it's for this time of year, and it's called Nature's Sunshine Seasonal Allergy. It used to have the name ALJ. I don't know what that stood for, but now it's just called Seasonal Allergy. And again, it's by Nature's Sunshine. And it is designed to support like your respiratory system. It contains a proprietary blend of boneset, horseradish, mullein, fennel, and fenugreek to soothe irritated membranes and assist the body during seasonal changes. This we have used for years, and it is our saving grace with our kiddos that have allergies, and especially with Aiden, if his allergies are activated, then it goes into asthma, and we all know that's not what we want. So the Navage Starter Bundle and Nature's Sunshine Seasonal Allergy will save your life this year. So anyway, guys, it has been so much fun. I have taken up way too much of your time, and I really want to get this edited and put out. So I'm going to let you go, but I hope you guys are having a great summer. I hope it's not passing you by too quickly. I hope you enjoyed our recommendations, and do reach out and let me know what your favorite ones were. Bye-bye.